Hello and welcome back to Food for Thought. This is a new segment on the Food for Thought podcast, and this is gaming Food for Thought. So today, what I'm going to talk about is Epic Games. Epic Games, the game producing phenomenon that has its own gaming engine as well as many hit games. So, very strangely, this company was created 27 years ago by a college student in his basement. And at that point, it was called Potomac Computer Systems, and then later called Epic Mega Games. So, it is now in Cary, North Carolina, although it was originally in Maryland. So, its first game was called ZZT, released in 1991, and in 1992, it brought on its current vice president, Mark Rain, who is the company's vice president to date. So they moved to their current location of Cary, North Carolina in 1999, and that's when it was renamed Epic Games. So Epic Games develops the Unreal Engine, a commercially available game engine, which also powers their internally developed video games, such as Fortnite, the Unreal, Gears of War, and Infinity Blade series. In 2014, Unreal Engine was named the most successful video game engine by Guinness World Records. So, that's just an interesting little tidbit about Epic Games. So, Fortnite's been around for a while, the Save the World edition, and recently Battle Royale in the current Battle Royale craze. So, this leads us to say that really, Epic Games is just following along with the track. I mean, they got kind of lucky, don't you think? They were a big company before their Fortnite Battle Royale, but it helped them, don't you think? The Battle Royale crazy Fortnite really is just another Battle Royale game. The difference being that it's cartoony and runs on a successful engine as previously determined. So, Epic Games. Let's talk the finances of Epic Games. In September of last year to May of this year, Fortnite alone brought in more than $1.2 billion US. So, of course, by its 125 million players. So, on this Epic Games company's one game alone, it brought in over $1 billion in less than a year span. So, this 27-year-old basement-started company, the founder, is now worth $5 to $8 billion. And the company started in his basement. So really, Epic Games may seem like it's big and mighty and at the top of everything right now, but really, Epic Games is just normal gaming company. It's like mainly that actually is a pretty skilled gaming company, so it has good staff and all that stuff, but I mean, it's not, there's nothing special to the company. It's just the game and the engine that it runs on. So, the founder of the company, Tim Sweeney, he founded Epic Games, but he sold Fortnite, and that is the main reason he has this much money as he does today. Because, of course, it's such a huge game. He sold it, he was paid a lot of money for this game. And now it's being developed by a different team, not by Sweeney himself, but by a different team. Still Epic Games, but not Tim Sweeney's Epic Games. So, I did some digging in Epic Games history, and they have this one very, not a scandal, but this one, squabble with another company. a Canadian game studio called the Silicon Knights sued Epic Games for failure to provide a working gaming engine, causing this Ontario-based game developer to experience considerable losses. So, this suit claimed that Epic Games was sabotaging Unreal Engine 3 licensees. Epic's licensing document stated that a working version of the engine would be available within 6 months of the Xbox 360 developer kits being released. But they claimed that the Epic Games company not only missed this deadline, but when a working version of the engine was eventually released, the documentation was insufficient. So the game studio also claimed that Epic had withheld vital improvements to the game engine, claiming that they were game-specific, while also using licensing fees to fund development of its own titles rather than the engine itself. So in August of 2007, Epic Games countersued Silicon Knights, alleging that the studio was aware when it signed on that certain features of Unreal Engine 3 were still in development and that components would continue to be developed and added as Epic worked on Gears of War. Therefore, in a statement, Epic said that they knew when it committed to the licensing agreement that the Unreal Engine 3 may not meet its requirements and may not be modified to meet them. And then, further investigation found that the Silicon Knights actually copied the code of the Unreal Engine and used it in their own game engine. So the Silicon Knights were actually using this lawsuit to cover up their theft of the code of the game engine. So Silicon Knights were sued for $4.45 million, and they had to file for bankruptcy in 2014. So, Fortnite is a large game and it has a wide player base, but we know that it's been shrinking. I know a lot of people who used to play Fortnite day and night. Few in particular, really. And now they just stop playing because they're losing interest. It's getting repetitive, which it is a very repetitive game. And they're just plain not interesting anymore. So that's why Epic is constantly updating Fortnite. I think they're focusing on updating this one game and kind of leaving all their other games. So it just, I don't know, I don't think the other games are getting their chance to become a good game. So, with that said, I kind of agree with the Silicon Knights saying that they are being game specific and using their revenue to improve other games. So, with all this said, is Epic Games really a good idea for investment? I think that Epic Games, if you wanted to invest it, if you had invested it in, I think it's reaching its peak right now. Personally, I wouldn't want to invest in it because, maybe last year I would have said go invest in it when Fortnite was released. Last year, you would have gone and invested in it. The stocks prices were high, but now the prices for the stocks are even higher. But now I just say don't invest in it because Fortnite is losing its player base. So I'd say Epic Games has reached its peak, and that's pretty much all for it. So if you enjoyed this podcast, the first episode in this new gaming company series, then please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. And I will see you in the next podcast. This is Jacob, signing out.